Welcome to Mental Health Mondays. I've decided that I would like to do a series of videos on mental health and how I have pushed through some barriers when it comes to mental illness in my own personal life, and I would like to pass that on to you guys. By no means am I an expert. I'm not a doctor. I'm still improving. I still have loads of work that I would like to do on myself, but I was thinking that maybe if I post some videos we could do some of this stuff together, and it is always good to talk to your GP or a medical expert if you have concerns. But I was just thinking that if I could just share some tips that I've picked up along the way, that it could make someone's life a little bit easier anyway. So this week's topic for Mental Health Mondays is self-confidence and teaching yourself how to love yourself. This is something that I have had to do a lot of work on. I surprise a lot of people when I talk about how I used to be and compared to now. I don't really care too much about what other people think of me now, but that was very much not the case years and years ago, which is a good thing, I suppose. So I've made out a list of different things that I think could help someone anyway. It doesn't have to help loads of people, but even if it helps one person, that's what makes it worth it. The first thing I kind of started to do myself was a little faking it till I made it. So what I mean by that is a lot of people fear the mirror. A lot of people fear photos. A lot of people fear videos and all this kind of stuff, and they fear looking at themselves. And I was like that for a long time, but I decided that I was going to start looking in the mirror and saying something nice about myself. Sometimes it was, oh yeah, you know, your hair looks good today, or you know, your smile is really pretty. And then other days it was, damn, you're sexy. And I didn't always believe it when I said it. I didn't always, look in the mirror and believe that, oh, I'm really, really good looking, or oh, I'm really, really pretty, or yeah, your smile is looking an awful lot better now, or your teeth are nice. But it was kind of a thing that I adopted that actually worked. That eventually, that I just kind of tricked my brain into believing it, if that makes sense. And I totally recommend it, because it's kind of a very easy step in teaching yourself self-love and being kind to yourself and talking about yourself in a kind way, which is very important. It's a very simple step, it doesn't require much. You just have to, find nice words. So it's very powerful, and it's especially at the start, of your day or your week. It's a great way to start your week off. Even your day off, to look in the mirror and say, you know what, yeah, you're doing your best, or you're doing really well, or damn, you are sexy. Tip number 2, I've wrote down, and I will go through a lot of these tips as well further down the line in different videos in a bit more detail. But tip number 2 is pushing your comfort zones. A comfort zone is a very easy spot to find yourself stuck in. And do not get me wrong, comfort zones are very important because it's a safe space for us to go to when we need it. As I'll talk about in a minute, we all need our little spaces and to reset, kind of. But you will be so surprised about the amount of things that you can actually do that you didn't think you could ever do. And like for me, I was a very anxious teenager, so like talking to people, I didn't really talk to people, whereas now, as you can tell, I never shut up. But that took a lot of work. That took a lot of me saying, right, I can make the appointment, or I can go to dinner on my own, or I went on holidays on my own, which is another big thing. It can be nerve-wracking to try new things, but we all, like, how many times have you done something that you really wanted to do but you were nervous about doing, and then afterwards you're like, what was I even nervous about? There was no need to even be nervous because it was a good experience. I mean, obviously every now and again we're going to have a bad experience with things, but that should not put us off the good experiences. But yes, pushing comfort zones and expanding our horizons, as people would say, is a really good way of learning what suits us and what makes our lives easier, what makes our lives a better place to be, which in turn will allow you to be the best version of you that you can be. Tip number 3 that I have written down is to learn to laugh at yourself. I think this is actually a really, really important thing that a lot of people don't know how to do. People might think when I say this that, oh, you know, do it in a self-deprecating way or whatever. I don't mean it like that. I mean that, like, you know, if you fall and you're mortified and you're so embarrassed and you're like, oh my god, everyone's gonna be laughing at me. Okay, number 1, people are probably gonna laugh at you. Someone might be worried about you too. Why is it the end of the world that someone laughs at you? Why is it the end of the world that someone thinks it's funny that you fell over, when you know that if someone else fell over, you'd probably laugh too? They might go home and tell a loved one or a friend, like, oh my god, I saw your one there, she fell over. But what, like, you know, it's not a personal thing. So yeah, learn to laugh at yourself. Tip number 4, kind of leading on from that, is to simplify life. Don't make mountains out of molehills. There will be an awful lot of times in life where things will be very serious. There are so many different things in life that will require you to take much more seriously. So you need to leave space for that, like, inner child in you that needs simplicity. With this as well, I think it is important to have your space around you simple. And if you can organize yourself, I'm in the middle of trying to do that myself. The next thing that I have written down is something that I think everyone needs to realize, and that is that everybody is weird. Even that girl that you remember from school who, like, you were like, oh my god, she's so perfect, like, how did she get her hair like that, how did she do? She goes home and she does something weird, and that if you found out about it, you'd be like, oh my god, she's a weirdo. Yes, guaranteed, some people are a little bit more weird than others, but that thing that you worry about yourself for being weird, everyone has those things. It's different for everyone. Some people have similarities in that way, but I think it's good to embrace the weird, because the weird is who you are. It's embracing the different aspects of your personality and working with it. Sometimes the weird things do need a little bit of help, but a lot of the times that we think something is weird, it's really not the end of the world, and it's just our way of doing things. So yeah, remember that everyone is weird in their own little way. The next thing I have written down is to find your people. Surround yourself with people who are like-minded to you, but I also like the idea of surrounding yourself with people who are a little bit different to you as well, because it's always great to learn from others, how they do things, and, you know, how they think about things, and it's good to keep an open mind about stuff. Try and remove as much toxicity in your surrounding people as you can. Life's too short to deal with bullshit, but just surround yourself with good people. Be very mindful of the people you have around you, because eventually they will reflect what your life will be like. The next thing I've written down is failure is good. People are so obsessed with avoiding failure. Failure just means you're one step closer to winning. Every time you fail, you learn a new lesson. Failure leads to progression if you allow it to. And I wish more people understood that. If you are really passionate about something, you should never let failure get in the way. You should allow failure to help you. It's a big thing in the gym that people don't understand, is that it's a great thing to push yourself to failure, because that is how you grow. Number 8 is creating a safe space and a relaxing space and time for you. I put this down, I'll go into it again in more detail in another video, but just to brush over it, I put this down because self-confidence comes from you looking after yourself as well. So it's really good to, you know, put the effort into looking after you. You know, that doesn't mean that, oh, I must be perfect all the time. It means that, yeah, I'm going to throw on a face mask now and my skin will feel better after it, or yeah, I'm going to scrub the dirty, mucky tan off my back because my skin needs a break. I'm going to brush my teeth because that will make me feel better. It doesn't, you know, I'm going to read this book because I want to learn more about this, and I'll be relaxing then, you know. It doesn't have to, it's really important to look after yourself when wanting to build self-confidence, because when you do start to take care of yourself, you're loving yourself more, and eventually that just leads to a more positive relationship you have with yourself. Again, it's something that I'm still working with, and it's a good thing to keep working with.